Hey there, let's dive into something that's on everyone's mind but no one really talks about: tipping in America. Have you ever felt that awkward moment when the bill comes and you're not sure how much to tip? You're not alone. Tipping in the United States has become a hot topic lately, and for good reason. What started as a thank you gesture has spiraled into a confusing, sometimes frustrating social expectation. So, why exactly is tipping in America getting out of hand? First, let's talk about the history. Tipping began in Europe as a way to show appreciation for excellent service. But when it crossed the Atlantic, it took on a life of its own. Today, tipping is almost expected everywhere, from restaurants to coffee shops, and even for services like picking up takeout or getting a ride. Here's the kicker. The standard tipping percentage has been steadily climbing. What used to be a 10% tip is now expected to be at least 20%, and in some cases even more. But why? Part of it is due to wage structures. Many service employees rely heavily on tips to make a living wage because their base pay is so low. The federal minimum wage for tipped workers is just $2.13 per hour, which hasn't changed in decades. So tipping becomes essential for their survival. But here's where it gets tricky. The expectation to tip has spread beyond traditional settings like restaurants. Now you're often prompted to tip in places where it wasn't common before. Self-service kiosks, online orders, and even some retail stores are now asking for tips. It's becoming overwhelming and frankly confusing. Moreover, the advent of digital payment systems has made tipping more invasive. When you're presented with an iPad or a screen that suggests a tipping amount right in front of the service provider, it can feel like you're pressured into tipping more than you intended. Let's not forget the impact on the quality of service. Ideally, a tip should reflect the level of service received. But when tipping becomes an expectation rather than a reward, it can muddy the waters. Are you tipping because the service was exceptional or because you feel you have to? So what's the solution? Some argue for abolishing tipping altogether and moving towards a model where employees are paid a living wage, with tips being purely optional and reflective of truly outstanding service. Others believe in keeping the tipping culture, but with clearer guidelines and expectations. At the end of the day, tipping should be a way to show appreciation, not an obligatory addition to every transaction. It's time for a conversation about how we can make tipping fairer and less stressful for everyone involved. Thanks for tuning in, and next time you're faced with the tipping dilemma, remember, it's okay to question the status quo. Catch you in the next video.